They say common sense isn't so common. But in today's episode, we're diving into the Hall of Fame for people who proved it's practically extinct. These are the moments when curiosity, overconfidence, and pure, unfiltered stupidity joined forces with fatal results. From experiments gone wrong to brain waves that never should have left the brain. Welcome to part 19 of the Darwin Awards, where evolution does the dirty work for us. Number 1. Lawn care, the great suburban sport. There's something about fresh cut grass that makes you feel accomplished. But our first contender decided to take yard maintenance to a new and dangerous level. Faced with a steep incline that most of us would avoid, he fired up his riding lawnmower because apparently nothing says safety like a 500-pound machine on a slope that could double as a ski jump. Instead of, say, using a weed trimmer or leaving it as nature's landscaping, he rode the mower straight into Darwin history. Halfway through the descent, the mower decided gravity was the better landscaper and flipped, sending both man and machine tumbling into a ravine. The mower didn't survive either, but it did get the last laugh. Moral? If the terrain looks like a black diamond ski run, maybe don't drive heavy machinery on it. Number 2. Our next contestant thought he had cracked the code for quick cash. Blow up an ATM and collect the money. Simple plan, right? Except, when you're working with explosives, there's a very small window between success and headlines. He carefully placed the charges, probably imagining himself in a Hollywood heist movie. Unfortunately, instead of a slow motion escape, his plan went off instantly, literally. The blast destroyed the ATM, the cash, and the thief, all in one spectacularly bad moment. Experts say timing is everything. In this case, it was also the last thing. So while the bank remained intact, our would-be robber made a permanent withdrawal from the gene pool. Number 3. Next up, the tale of a man who was offered the easiest safety option in the world, a sober friend willing to drive him home. But no, he had a motorized scooter and liquid courage, and what could possibly go wrong with that combination? Sadly, physics had other plans. At some point, balance became optional, and he toppled off, hitting his head on the pavement. No helmet, no reflexes, and no second chances. It's one thing to make a poor decision. It's another to reject the better alternative right in front of you. His friend probably drove home safely that night. He did not. Number 4. If you've ever been at a hotel with a pool, you've seen that one person who decides normal pool entry is too boring. Our next nominee was that person spotting the pool from a balcony and thinking, I can make that jump. Now, making such a leap is already risky, but there was a tiny detail he missed. The pool had been drained for maintenance. No water, no splash, just concrete. In the seconds it took to leap, the plan shifted from epic stunt to gravity speedrun. Always check your landing zone, folks. Water is forgiving, tile and concrete are not. Number 5. And now we have the home mechanic who wanted to save a few bucks on car repairs. Nothing wrong with fixing your own vehicle if you have the right tools. Sadly, this story is what happens when you don't. Instead of using proper jack stands or a lift, he improvised with whatever he had lying around. And as anyone who's worked on cars knows, improvisation plus 2 tons of metal is a risky formula. The car slipped, the supports failed, and the full weight came down on him. Mechanics have a saying, always respect the lift. Sadly, in this case, the lift didn't return the favor. Number 6. Some folks believe that when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. This man believed that when life gives you a clogged toilet, you make a pipe bomb. Yes, you read that right. Apparently, instead of grabbing a plunger like every other functioning human being, he decided to channel his inner myth-busters. Without the science, without the safety measures, and without the common sense. The plan was simple. Pack some explosives into the porcelain throne to blast the clog away. Because sure, plumbing problems should be handled with the same force used to sink enemy ships in World War II. The result? Well, the toilet didn't just unclog, it detonated like a mini Hiroshima, sending ceramic shrapnel everywhere. The poor guy was found with injuries so severe that even the coroner probably said, "What in the name of Home Depot happened here?" Lesson learned. Just because something is stuck doesn't mean you need a blast radius to fix it. Number 7. We all know someone who thinks they're the funniest person in the room. Usually, they're not. This guy wanted to prank his friends by grabbing a live electrical wire and pretending to get shocked. Small problem. Wires don't care if you're pretending. They shock you whether you're serious or not. The moment his hand touched that wire, he went from, "Ha ha, I'm so hilarious," to, "Oh, I appear to be smoking," in about 0.3 seconds. His friends, thinking it was part of the act, didn't even rush to help at first. By the time they realized he wasn't acting, it was too late. Darwin Award secured. Moral of the story: electricity is not a prop, and your last joke should not require a fire extinguisher. Number 8. Meet the herpetologist who thought he was immune to the venom of one of the most dangerous snakes on the planet. Why? Science? Ego? A death wish? Your guess is as good as mine. This man literally let the snake bite him to prove a theory. Unfortunately, the theory was apparently, "I wonder what it's like to die in excruciating pain." Spoiler, the theory checked out. He spent the next few hours swelling, convulsing, and realizing that Mother Nature doesn't negotiate with overconfidence. People asked him before the experiment if he was sure about this. He replied something like, "I've studied snakes my whole life. Yes, and yet here we are." Turns out years of research don't give you AntiVenom superpowers. They just make your obituary a little more ironic. Number 9. Some people just have to get the perfect Instagram shot. You've seen them hanging off cliffs, standing on the edge of rooftops, laying down in the middle of highways. This person took it to the next level by posing in a train tunnel for a dramatic photo. They probably imagined the finished picture looking like an action movie poster. What they got instead was a very literal final cut. Despite the existence of things called schedules and common sense, they didn't account for the fact that trains still use tunnels. The photographer yelled for them to move. The person froze, probably thinking, "I can make it," a thought proven wrong in the loudest, heaviest way possible. The only drama captured that day was the one the coroner had to write down in the report. Number 10. Nothing says summer like a backyard BBQ, unless your version of flavor involves blasting yourself into orbit. This man was cooking on a grill that was dying down, so he grabbed a can of lighter fluid and went to town. Now, every single grill safety guide ever written says, never add lighter fluid to hot coals. Why? Because it turns the grill into a medieval cannon. He poured, the fumes ignited instantly, and boom, he was on the receiving end of a fireball. The neighbors said it looked like a Michael Bay explosion scene, only with more screaming and less CGI. The burgers were incinerated. The man was tragically done for. And the lighter fluid bottle? Perfectly fine. The takeaway: a good BBQ should make your mouth water, not your eyebrows disappear. Number 11. Some people believe rules are meant to be broken. Others believe seatbelts are optional if you're just going up for a quick look. This guy, he believed both, and gravity was happy to prove him wrong. Our airborne adventurer was floating peacefully in a hot air balloon, enjoying the scenery, when he decided his seatbelt was cramping his style. He unbuckled it to get a better view. Yes, because when you're dangling hundreds of feet in the air in a wicker basket, mobility is priority number one. Predictably, one gust of wind later, he discovered that humans, unlike birds, are terrible at flying. If nothing else, he probably got the best view possible on the way down. That's what we call a first-class ticket, straight to the Darwin Awards Hall of Fame. Number 12. Fishing can be relaxing, meditative, and peaceful, unless your bait of choice is military-grade explosives. This man, tired of waiting for fish to bite, decided to speed things up with a hand grenade. Because nothing says fresh catch like shrapnel in the scales. His genius plan? Toss the grenade in, watch the fish float up, and scoop them out. His oversight? Physics. Specifically, the part where the grenade exploded a little too close to his small wooden boat. Witnesses say the blast was like something out of a movie. If the movie was directed by someone who thought Jaws needed more pyrotechnics and fewer survivors. On the plus side, the fish got their revenge. The downside, they didn't even have to lift a fin. Number 13. Some people play with puppets. Others play with snakes. Very few combine the two. But our contestant here decided the world needed a one-man performance of The Muppet Show, starring a live rattlesnake as Mr. Hissy. He thought it would be funny to put his hand inside the snake's open mouth and wiggle it around like a sock puppet. The snake thought otherwise. Let's be honest, snakes aren't known for their comedic timing, but their reflexes, those are top tier. One lightning-fast bite later, our aspiring puppeteer was on the express lane to the afterlife. You know what they say? It's all fun and games until your puppet is venomous and hates improv. Number 14. We've all seen those backyard redneck engineering videos. Someone straps a lawn chair to a bungee cord, the neighbors gather around, and suddenly you've got yourself a YouTube moment. Well, this crew decided to take it up a notch by building a giant slingshot big enough to launch a human. Because why waste time with science fairs when you can recreate medieval siege weaponry in your backyard? They strapped in their volunteer, read guy who lost the coin toss, pulled the contraption back, and let her rip. Unfortunately, their math skills were about as solid as a marshmallow wall. Instead of sailing majestically into a pile of mattresses, our human cannonball went straight into a solid wall. The only thing launched further than him was common sense. And it never came back. Number 15. Tree houses are childhood dreams brought to life. Little hideouts where you can plot pirate adventures, eat candy, and pretend you're in your own private world. But here's a tip. If you're building one as an adult, maybe invest in something more stable than a couple of old pallets and blind optimism. This guy decided to construct his masterpiece high in the branches of a very tired-looking tree. Problem 1, his carpentry skills were non-existent. Problem 2, the tree was barely holding itself up. Problem 3, he climbed inside to test it before actually securing anything. Gravity once again took over, and the whole thing came down faster than a toddler's Jenga tower. The moral of the story: if your treehouse plan starts with, "It'll probably hold," it won't. Number 16. Some people juggle balls. Some juggle flaming torches. And then there was this guy who looked at a set of running chainsaws and thought, You know what this needs? A little flair. Whether this was for a backyard bet, a TikTok stunt, or simply because his brain cells had gone on strike, we'll never know. The performance started well enough. 3 roaring blades spinning in the air. But juggling requires coordination, and coordination is hard when each mistake is a trip to the ER. Except he skipped the ER and went straight to the pearly gates. Moral of the story: chainsaws are for cutting wood, not for auditioning for the Darwin Awards live show. Number 17. Most homeowners clean their gutters with a ladder and a little elbow grease. But this man, he decided to take innovation to a level OSHA would strongly disapprove of. His plan: stand on the roof, fire up a leaf blower, and let the gust blast all the debris out in seconds. Only problem? He set the blower to turbo hurricane mode. The blast of air didn't just send leaves flying, it sent him flying. In one moment, he was king of the rooftop. In the next, he was auditioning for the role of ragdoll in freefall. Gravity, as always, did not negotiate. Number 18. Now, I get it. Hot tubs are relaxing. They're also, believe it or not the best place to do electrical work. This man apparently didn't get that memo. Sitting in bubbling water, he noticed the wiring for the lights was faulty. Instead of, I don't know, turning off the power and getting out, he thought he could fix it right there, mid-soak. Imagine reaching into a nest of live wires while sitting in a giant cup of water. The result? Let's just say his spa day became a Sparks day, and his final moments looked like something out of a low-budget superhero origin story, minus the survival part. Number 19. Here's a tip. If you're ever stuck in a small boat without a motor, there are better solutions than this. One man decided he could turn his fire extinguisher into a propulsion system. After all, it sprays fast. Why not aim it backward and let it push you forward? The idea might have had some merit if the extinguisher hadn't spun the boat like a possessed carnival ride. The high-pressure blast sent him into a dizzying spin, capsizing the vessel in seconds. Not only did he fail to reach shore, he got an unplanned swimming lesson and tragically never surfaced again. On the bright side, the boat was very fire safe. Number 20. We've all heard of people doing dumb things on a dare, but this guy decided to go for the aquatic gold medal. Whether he dropped his phone in the tank or just wanted to show off, he leapt into a pool full of piranhas. Nature documentaries make these creatures seem like slow-moving little fishies, until you toss in something meaty, like, say, a full-grown human. Witnesses say he made it about halfway across before the feeding frenzy began. It was quick, chaotic, and horrifying, which is exactly how piranhas like it. The real tragedy? The fish probably spent the rest of the day with a smug look, thinking, best lunch ever. Number 21. There's a special kind of person who looks at a thunderstorm and thinks, you know what would make this more exciting? Climbing the tallest piece of metal in the area. This unnamed genius spotted a lightning rod on a tall building and decided it was the perfect stage for whatever stunt he thought he was doing. Perhaps he wanted an epic selfie. Perhaps he wanted to feel the power of nature. Or maybe he was auditioning for the role of human conductor. Midway up, the sky was putting on quite the light show. Nature's way of warning him, this is a bad idea. But he pushed on, gripping that metal rod like it was the last ladder rung to glory. Then, as if the universe had been waiting for the cue, boom! A blinding flash. In one glorious moment, our hero discovered the speed at which electricity travels. Spoiler, faster than regret. The end result? Physics 1, human 0. And somewhere Benjamin Franklin shook his head. Number 22. The car wash, a place for cleaning vehicles, not auditioning for a Wet and Wild Darwin Award. But one man apparently missed that memo. For reasons best left to psychologists, he decided to run through an automatic car wash completely naked. Maybe it was a dare. Maybe it was performance art. Or maybe he thought, if it works for cars, it'll work for me. He slipped inside during the wash cycle, grinning like a man about to prove his point. The brushes started spinning, the sprayers hissed, and for a brief moment it looked like he might pull it off. But automatic car washes aren't built for delicate human anatomy. One rotating brush snagged him, yanking him into the machinery. A tangle of hoses, spinning arms, and bad decisions later, it was over. On the plus side, he left this world squeaky clean. Number 23. Some people spend years training to handle explosives. Others watch one YouTube video and think they're an expert. Enter our amateur bomb technician who found an old, rusted explosive and thought, how hard can this be? Spoiler, very hard. Ignoring every sane option, like calling professionals, he set up shop in his garage, tools laid out like he was about to change a tire. He prodded, poked, and probably muttered something like, it's probably not even live anymore. The bomb, however, disagreed. One tiny mistake was all it took. In an instant, his garage, his career as a part-time demolition hobbyist, and his future were gone. The only good news? The neighbors don't have to hear him rev his lawnmower anymore. Number 24. You know how some people insist on showing how safe a product is? This man took that concept and sprinted right past common sense. Holding a stun gun, he announced to friends, see? It's harmless. And for maximum dramatic effect, placed the device inside his mouth. Perhaps he expected a little spark, a funny tingle, maybe applause. Instead, he got a jolt strong enough to scramble his heart like Sunday breakfast. He dropped instantly, leaving everyone in the room wondering if they just witnessed the worst magic trick in history. Lesson learned. Your mouth is for food, drinks, and bad karaoke, not conducting electricity. Number 25. Finally, we have the reptile enthusiast who thought crocodiles were just scaly stage partners. In front of an audience, he crouched beside a massive croc, pried its jaws open, and slid his head inside like he was auditioning for America's Got Death Wishes. For a moment, the crowd gasped at his bravery. Then the crocodile remembered it was a crocodile. The jaws slammed shut with enough force to crush bone like a soda can. The audience's gasp turned into horrified silence, and the show was over permanently. Nature has many ways of humbling humans, but this one comes with teeth. And there you have it, a fresh batch of Darwin Award winners who prove that common sense isn't nearly as common as we'd like to believe. Personally, I can't decide which one takes the cake. Was it the guy who treated a rattlesnake like a puppy? The genius who thought danger high voltage was just a suggestion? Or the daredevil who tried to win an argument with gravity? Which one do you think was the most unbelievably dumb? Or maybe you've heard of an even more ridiculous case that could beat all of these. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to read it. And if you enjoy watching people turn themselves into cautionary tales, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss part 20. Because apparently, the world never runs out of bad ideas.